All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this little reading I'm going to do on Pluto going into Aquarius. I did a little post on this on Instagram. And because Aquarius is a little quirky and a little bit unconventional, I'm going to use some decks that I feel represent Aquarius energy. Before we get into that, though, I want to talk just a little bit about Pluto and Capricorn. And I feel it's a really good time to reflect on Pluto's journey through Capricorn, perhaps in your chart. I would look up the house that it transited, and I would look up the aspects of that house to lean into what transformed in your life over the last 15 years. And I can't remember this person's name. It was on TikTok. She talked about how Capricorn, I think, the Pluto was transiting her fifth house, I think. She never wanted to have kids, ended up meeting someone that ended up having kids, and it completely transformed her perception and beliefs about having kids and being a mom. I think it was her fourth and fifth house anyways. So it's not, to me, Pluto, it was so intense, I think, because Capricorn was involved, and Aquarius, I feel, is going to be a different kind of teacher. But what I've noticed about the Pluto transits, and understanding we've been through we've had Pluto transits our entire existence. We're just more keenly aware of what they are now. But what I've noticed is Pluto is here to help us transform and shift out of our generational belief systems. What I'm noticing a lot with clients, with friends, even with myself, is how much what we believe in affects our ability to expand and go about life in the way that we're called to. So I believe Pluto in Aquarius is going to continue to do the same things. It's just going to be done in a different way. It's just going to be done, I feel, especially as our perspective about things and our beliefs about things and our reactions and responses to things change. We're going to have a completely different relationship with Pluto in Aquarius. That's just what I feel, okay? For me personally, I had Capricorn in my fourth house. I think fifth, starting with the fourth and going into the fifth, I think, house. And so much of the last 15 years has been spent reconciling a lot of childhood stuff and healing the distortion through my family and the relationship with my mom and all of these things that, and even the perception I have of myself as somebody who's creative or passionate, my relationship with passion, all of these beliefs I had about these things and has shifted over the last 15 years. And I'm going to spend time really allowing myself to appreciate how much I've shifted and changed and show gratitude to my journey. So if you're in a space to do that, I would absolutely do that. I think it's going to benefit you. Pluto in Aquarius is going from my fifth house to my sixth house. And I'm excited about this because I've been shown how much it's going to shift my relationship with my body. And I know that the first house represents your presence in the world, the physical body, but the sixth house is our daily interactions and the energy we put into the things we do daily. And it tells me, it's shown me just with other stuff that's happening in my chart that this is a relationship that's going to shift for the better with my physical body, which is right in alignment with where I feel I'm going. So anyways, I think it's worth it to look into where Aquarius is in your chart, where Pluto is going to transit, and any beliefs you have in regard to those aspects to your life, how they might transform in an unexpected, very expansive way. Aquarius energy to me is glow up energy, and I'll stand I'll stand with that, with anyone. I will die on that hill. It's Aquarius energy is hard to pin down. But when you feel into it, into a chart, when you feel into the Uranus energy that supports it, and if you know any Aquarians, right, with any big placements, you know that there's a glow up energy. Everybody's going to experience a glow up of some kind with this Pluto in Aquarius, depending on where it's transiting in your chart. And it's going to be a beautiful thing. It's going to be an unexpectedly beautiful thing. And any part of you that wants to reject that because you think there needs to be pain and suffering, that maybe that's part of the lesson that needs to be learned over the next 20 years. I'm just putting it out there. So I was going to do like this whole thing on the different houses and stuff. I'm like, there's some really amazing astrologers out there that have got this covered. I like to do my own personal research, so I know a little bit for myself and whatever clients I work with, but I do have a very positive, very excited energy about this shift. Now, there is still Capricorn energy moving out, so you might not feel the shift yet, but I promise you, if you haven't, it's coming. Okay. I do feel too, like with Aquarius, there's more empowerment and independence of, carving out life on your own terms. So I do feel like there's a proponent to that. Now we're going to do, as per usual, like the 4-corner reading. I should say as per usual. I think it's been the last couple of videos, but I'm already burping up energy. So we're already moving some stuff out of the way. I just want to look at the overall theme. This is just generalized, okay? So some of it's going to resonate with you guys. Some of it's not. But you just get to pick and choose, right? Aquarians just pick and choose. They don't, they're going to pick and choose. So you can just pick and choose what serves your path at this moment in time. So I'm going to look at the overall energy of this Pluto and Aquarius transit for everyone. Some of the challenges that may come forward. Again, I feel it's about belief systems. Some of the benefits that we're going to be able to reap from this, and focus where we can put our energy. Where does our energy need to go? Kind of a deal. Okay, let's take a look. I will be doing a twin flame and divine connection one for my Patreons, but I'm going to put that up tomorrow. Okay. All right, let's see. Overall, what do we have overall here? Okay. Oh. Awakening, ancient knowledge, memories, connection. I do feel this. So for those of you that are probably watching, you've already woken up because you're here. You found me and you find this fascinating, or you're into this kind of stuff. There's a good chance you've gone through your main big awakening. For those of us that have already woken to some degree, we're going to be rebalancing and really leaning into those energies versus constantly feeling like we need to plug back in to an unawakened state in order to survive or in order to exist in the world around us. But there is going to be a massive awakening at this time. People who were not awake before are starting to wake up, okay? This is not a conscious choice. The choice to wake up... Sorry, this microphone's like right in my face. The choice to wake up is not a conscious one. You're not conscious enough to make that decision. So it's something I've always felt is very destined, but what a great time to wake up. And it's almost like Pluto and Capricorn needed to make things really difficult for people so that they were preparing to let go and to lose the part of their egoic nature that was holding on to beliefs, holding on to things, holding on to people, right? Making that so difficult that it almost felt better to let go. There's something with that, I feel. Okay. Ooh, okay. I kind of love that the 9 of Swords, which is our big fear card in the deck, came in on its side. Okay, anytime we awaken to something new, anytime we experience new energy that we don't have a manual for, we don't have a map to follow, there's going to be fear. But there's something about this energy that kind of is like, you know what? There's something more at play here. There's something more expansive. There's something beyond my control. We only fear I feel we only fear when we feel like there's some element of control or responsibility. So I do feel like through this transit, and again, the transit's going to be like 20 years, okay? But I'm just going to talk about the beginning, the kickoff of this transit, and however it transpires for everybody is how it's going to transpire. But I feel like we're going to be addressing fear in a whole different way, in a healthier way, in an awakened, aware state of recognizing fear for what it is and being able to let it move out and to work with it and do whatever we need to do on our own little unique paths, right? Okay, let's see. Oh, another one on, that's interesting. We have another one on this side. This card is always interesting because the Two of Wands is kind of about, like making the right decision, right? A fear of the past repeating itself. But this particular card, do you see how the robot's holding this orb in its hand, crystal ball, if you will, looking at himself from a completely different angle. And it's, as I was looking at the transits, like the Pluto transit, the Pluto and Aquarius transiting the houses, a lot of it is looking at the roles, who we are, the beliefs we have about ourselves, and our place in the world, and all of these different things that are going to be shifting. Like, who am I? Like, this robot's looking at, like, who am I? How do others see me? How do I see myself? That's going to be really prominent for people with it transiting your first house. But I feel like there's just this identity shift. That's the best way I can describe it. Overall, for everyone, there's an identity shift. What and who we've attached our identity to, what and who has attached their identity to us, like what we've created of our identity is generally what other people have made us to be. But that's all, there's this element of independence and curiosity and wanting to explore the potential and the expansiveness of who we really are. And I don't know how that's going to translate for each and every one of you. But I suspect, we find as humans, we find comfort in the roles that we've been taught, right? Like where people appreciate us or how they've made us feel like we belong, okay? There's a certain fear of stepping out of those boundaries, out of fear we won't belong or won't be accepted anymore. But we almost can't stay in the way that we've been, right? We can't stay catering to what other people need of us to make themselves feel better when we need to feel better, right? And it sounds selfish, but it's really not, because when we're in a state of understanding who we are and maybe not even trying to attach ourselves to a specific ideal, right? When we're the most authentic, the most healthy versions of ourselves, everyone benefits. So I think there's going to be a real shift in identity here, an awakening to perhaps our soul's potential and how we want to see ourselves show up in the world. Okay. All right. Some of the challenges, I think I said, right? Like you guys can answer me. Okay. Reflective, truth, identity, self-love, and acceptance. Oh, that's so interesting. I think it's interesting that there's butterflies, there's mirroring here, introspection, self-analysis, and fortitude. Here's what's really interesting about the Aquarian energy. Aquarian energy, they do like their independence. They can do stuff alone. They do like their alone time. They like their introspection, but they're also they're some of the most friendly people. They love people. Even if they don't like people sometimes, even if it does not mean that they don't have placements that have them rejecting people, but generally there's an element of cohesiveness and collaboration coming from Aquarian placements, okay? Here's the deal though. There's going to be some kind of balance that needs to happen between analyzing the self versus needing to analyze everybody else to understand the self. Okay. So we tend to do that sometimes, human beings, okay, everybody, where we think we need to analyze other people to understand the situation, but there's going to be a shift in focus of the self. I need to understand myself more than I need to understand the situation. And sometimes you might want to understand the situation to understand yourself better to some degree, in the sense of like, okay, why did I react to that? What is it that I'm actually reacting to in regard to this situation? But the situation, the external, which is interesting because Aquarius is the more external energy. It is the outer public energy. So I do feel we're going to be expanding and spending more time with other people. But we're also going to need to prioritize ourselves than others. So in example, like I said, instead of being like, I need to analyze this situation or these people to figure out myself, I need to figure out myself in regard to those other people. Hopefully that makes sense. But it might be a little bit of a challenge, and learning to love yourself without being technical about it. Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay, so we have a little bit of imposter syndrome that did come in. I am going to keep it like this. It was another one that was on its side. And I'm shuffling them like this. I don't know. I'm just rolling with it. Some people are going to struggle with feeling like an imposter because everything they thought they knew about themselves that made them sure about themselves may not be who they really are, but perhaps a role that they played. You know, when you start to wake up and you start to realize your own behavior was a response or like a conditioned response or a programmed response to your upbringing, whatever, you kind of feel a little bit like an imposter because you were just adapting to belong and adapting to fit in and whatever, right? So with so many people waking up, there's going to be a lot of like, who am I really? Like, there's going to be some kind of shift with that. And then there are other people who are going to be really solid in who they are, even though other people don't believe them. And that might be a little bit of a challenge as well, to stand in your own power, regardless of where other people are at in regard to how they see you. Okay. Oh, okay, that one was right side up. So we've got some bombs dropping. Okay, so there could be some truth bombs in regard to this. I don't think they don't have to be bad. Oh, interesting that we have the Lovers. Okay. I think this is going to affect a lot of our own personal relationships, romantic relationships, absolutely, but this could be friends and family. I think this is going to be interesting because not all truth bombs are heartbreaking. Some truth bombs are mind-blowing and you're like, holy crap, I can let myself off the hook. Like, there's going to be something here that's a bit of a challenge because we are the core. We are the center of our own universe, right? How we see ourselves, how we show up, the things we attach to our identity. And if we don't know what that is anymore, there might be a little bit of a challenge with that. The beautiful thing is, though, I think we're going to get a lot of supportive energy in freedom and permission to kind of just be our own unique, quirky selves, regardless of how the world is being. So we might see a lot of people doing cringy things online, experimenting with pushing the envelope of who they are and how they want to show up, and just be mindful of that. And if you have judgment about that, lean in, because the judgment's more about how you would feel if you were doing that. And knowing that that's part of somebody's process. There's a real we talk about Aquarius detachment, right? There's a real sense of detachment with this, and learning to discern and be detached in whatever's going on, regardless of judgment. So I think that's going to be interesting. Okay, so what are the main benefits of this time? Wow, that was fast. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We've got empowerment, grounded strength and stamina, forgiveness, redemption, rebirth, and regeneration. Absolutely. There's a certain vulnerability that doesn't necessarily come with the Aquarius energy, but I do feel like when we give ourselves permission to be whoever we need and have capacity and space for that and curiosity, I think there's a space for being able to forgive and let go of judgment, and there's some kind of expansion with that, really truly redeeming the quality of the self through letting go of the past. Aquarian energy is very forward thinking, it's very future oriented. And while yes, some other placements might want you to bring the past into that to predict the future, I don't feel like that's actually going to work anymore. And I don't know how well predictability, like even if you go online right now and you look at all the different things people are trying to predict and how some of them kind of come true but don't really, it's because that's kind of out the window. So I feel like there's going to be a sense of empowerment and groundedness in detaching from the traditional elements of how we've gone about life and the way we've shown up in life. That's going to really help us continue to move forward from a place of neutrality. Okay, so we have the sun. Yeah, we do have a strong sense of belonging. We have finding your place in the world. We have, I feel like we have, it is happiness. The sun exemplifies happiness in a lot of ways, but it's not necessarily about rooting somewhere. This to me feels very nomadic in this energy. You might see a lot of people moving, exploring different ways of living. I know that sounds kind of random, but really trying on different outfits. It feels like trying on different hats, trying on different outfits, trying different things to see what fits, but gaining so much knowledge in the process that no matter what transpires, yeah, we've got the Three of Wands, no matter what transpires, there's going to be this expansive amount of knowledge of the self, of the world, of even the galactic stuff, the alien stuff, the AI, all this different thing. There's going to be such a vast amount of knowledge during this time that allows a sense of empowerment and groundedness, even though it's unpredictable and relatively unknown in its pathway. So I kind of love the Three of Wands. I do feel that even though there's this sense of unknowing or not being able to predict, I feel like there is going to be an element that's going to help us really decide what we want for ourselves. Maybe give us permission again to just explore possibilities we never thought we could lean into, or we could experiment with or explore, because the old beliefs that we had about ourselves and who we're supposed to be and what we're supposed to be doing kind of stopped us from doing that. Whereas I think Pluto's going to be here and be like, is that true? Is that really truly what you want? And do you have a sense of belonging with yourself in regard to what role you're playing in the way you show up? Okay. The way others see us versus the way we see ourselves, and how much we've seen ourselves based on how everybody else has seen us. That's a huge shift right there. Okay. So where can we focus our energy? contemplation, silence, knowing, releasing, control. So I came across, I'm giggling at that because, yeah, inspirational creation, alchemy, the elements, innovation. I kind of love that I see that there. I came across this video on TikTok the other day, and I wish I have it saved, but I don't remember her name, but she talked about how, let's operate in blind faith, let go of control for a week. Just let yourself do what you're inspired. Don't worry about momentum. Don't worry about having to figure it all out. Just allow things to unfold and show up for you. Connect to source, the universe, God, your guides. Share, talk to them about what you like, and open to them showing up for you and that kind of thing. You can do it. You can do it for weeks. So I've been doing that right now, and it feels kind of discombobulating because I'm a worrier. But I find I'm after that initial fearful response or knee-jerk reaction to thing kind of dissipates, I find I'm okay and I get to relax again. But doing a meditation, clearing the physical body a lot right now. Allowing thoughts and emotions and things to come through and bring the information to you so you can unpack it. I feel, even though Aquarius energy is very knowledgeable and they seek knowledge when something lights them up. Okay, there's a voracious sense of thirst for knowledge. But I don't think we're meant to be seeking out of fear or lack, trying to fix or solve. I feel the seeking comes from something that lights you up and allows you to receive. There's something about being able to receive what we need knowledge-wise. Okay, what else do we have here? Okay, we've got the Page of Cups. We've got a little bit of an element of surprise. Let yourself be surprised. Let things unfold in a way. Yeah, we've got the 8 of Wands. You notice he's on this raft, and we have the Chariot, so we do have divine will energy here, allowing the divine to exercise its will to help us through this next path. You notice how he doesn't have any paddles or anything on this raft. He's completely at the mercy of the river, and he looks dejected right now. But he's really just kind of feeling that way and grieving the loss of what once was. We're going to still experience a little bit of grief as we explore these new possibilities. As we lay to rest what we thought we had to do. There's going to be grief, there's going to be shame, there's going to be guilt, there's going to be all kinds of feelings that come from that. But they're just feelings, and they just get to help you move the energy out so you're no longer attached to what once was, especially if you're keen on creating something new for yourself. Let the world surprise you. Open to surprise. Okay. We've often, in the traditional sense, we've looked at this as being blindsided. Nobody wants to be blindsided. But I do feel there's something really beautiful happening in the way we relate to ourselves, relate to others, relate to the universe, the way that we go about life. And I truly believe that Pluto and Capricorn helped us take a big chunk of that foundational feeling of being over leveraged in responsibility of making sure everything worked out properly or making sure everything was good. We became so overtly conditioned to believe we had to do everything possible to control a situation. That's all changing, especially if we had no business feeling like we could control anything. So I do feel like this is positive. I think it's if you the things that we're really attached to, the beliefs we're really attached to, if they're creating limitation for us, it's going to feel difficult. It's going to feel really hard and difficult to let those things go. But that truly, and that's kind of the hardest part, if I'm going to be honest with you, that's the part that's going to bring up the most fear, right? We created all of these conditions, or we didn't create the conditions, but we created all these responses and reactions to stay safe and to stay whatever. But they cause us more pain than freedom and joy and love now. So that's going to be the hardest part. It's not going to be the curious part where you're really being, okay, well, who am I and how am I meant to show up in this world? And, like what's going to empower me and how do I envision myself in my future without trying to control the outcome? I'm just going to say this one last thing before I go. There's been an uptick in self-conceptualization and the law of assumption, but it's still coming from a place of trying to control an outcome. And anytime we try to control an outcome, it's not actually coming from a place of empowerment. It's coming from a place of lack and fear, as if we need to control to have and receive that outcome. There's going to be a big shift in how we work with energy, and it's not the way that we think. I think it's actually a lot easier than we know, but we only know to get technical and get structured. I think all bets are off with that. So we'll kind of see where that lands, but I'm sending you all so much love. And I'd love to hear how you're feeling this energy so far, and take care.